Hold on one second as a kombucha just exploded.
It's just you and me now.
Can I tell you something?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Be vulnerable. Okay, when you do this work, most of your people that are members of the site, I don't know them, right? And so I just got to meet some and train and give them the deeper stuff, like the emotional stuff and the energetic work and the feedback that I've been getting, and it's pretty cool. And it just goes to show like how cool this stuff is, but also I'm touring right now, and so if anyone wants me to come to their town, hit me up. I mean, you're buying, but I'll show up and we'll get some people together and let's make a couple days out of it, and let's get some amazing work done. Go on the site, sign up. All the new workshops are going. We all need to be doing the journaling stuff. It's not what you think. Call me, book a session. We can dial you in. It's funny. I've watched people actually grow after just an online journaling session. And then the new project is almost done that I did out there. And so a whole new site's coming for a teacher training. And that's going to be next level. Very proud of this one. Sorry, I keep having to clean up the fluffy.
So what kind is it?
The flavor is, well, now I'm embarrassed. Blue Universal Consciousness. That's what they call it.
Whoa.
Yeah, stop it.
A bottle of universal consciousness.
No. Blue Universal.
Blue Universal.
Yeah.
Okay. You could probably fit that in a bottle.
Not funny. Let's get started.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm not caught up on anything. I'm in my own world right now.
I can catch you up.
Let's do one step at a time, because I've been editing and everything is very systematic right now. This is
Bring me the first step
of my dad. Slow down, boy. One step at a time.
That's very good advice for the horse moon. That's very good advice for the horse moon.
We're going to horse moon. So we were in a what?
Right. We are moving out of the horse moon. What's called the fifth moon is the horse moon. In particular, it was a metal horse moon.
And
right?
we're
moving into the sixth moon, into a metal goat moon, and this is considered to be the third moon of summer.
Okay.
The third and the final moon of summer. So after this moon. Yeah, big round of applause for summer, everybody. It gave its all. But like the fifth moon is peak summer. Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, tan line.
Did you? Is it on your shirt?
From here up, white as a ghost.
Yeah. Welcome to Texas.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's actually, cosmologically speaking, there's a lot to say about the sixth moon in general. Like, it's actually a really important moon in the view teaching and the cosmology of the Tongshu, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about the Tongshu, which is the Chinese almanac, right? So, bottom line on the sixth moon is that it has to do with this kind of three-part relationship. It has to do with heaven and earth and humanity, right? So in the view teachings, in the cosmology of the Tongshu, heaven and earth partner with humanity, and humanity partners with heaven and earth, right? So we unite as the kind of three parts, right? So unlike a sort of revelatory or a theistic view teaching, we're not passive players. We're not always dependent on some sort of transcendental guidance, right? We're immersed, in this relationship with heaven and earth, and we're supposed to contribute. So the main way that we do that is not as individuals. We do it collectively. So in this view, the individual is not really that important. But how we really contribute as a group, as a group of human beings, right? Yeah, Matt.
I'm going to ask everyone right now on YouTube to comment below on what you feel about Scott just said. You as an individual, because we are speaking to Americans. If
Right.
you're an American right now, how does that make you feel?
There's a lot of obstacles to really being able to, and I should know, I've spent time with this material being like,
Mhm.
what, like, how can this be? The individual is so important, but that's actually not true. Go out and try and build any kind of structure completely by yourself, unless you're very well trained. But go build a dam. You'll find out very quickly that you don't know what you're doing and you don't
You
have the
know what?
capacity.
You know what freaks me out though? Because I'm pretty individual. I'm pretty loner in many ways,
Sure.
but I have a
Yeah,
huge
same.
community. And
Hmm.
but whenever I talk to people about the importance of studying martial arts, or uh, uh, I find that I'm around a lot of people that are very, hey, bro, it's a free country, very hyper
Hmm.
individualist, very much want to
Yeah,
homestead, but are
right.
very into team sports in the military, and it doesn't make sense.
Because one of the things, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all sort of tribal identification in a way in which we've been sort of programmed from
Right,
a very
right.
early age of what to value. So we haven't really, in our particular culture, we haven't been given a lot of strong teachings or any kind of a like really strong examples of what group activity can do for us. Hey, do you have to drill your own well or can you go turn on some water, right?
Um,
Matt?
Okay. Yeah, so this is the thing. It's like it's stuff self-purpose, right? And so whenever I talk to people that are even into team sports, they're like, you need to learn it to where you learn how to work in a team. And I'm like, but you also need to cultivate yourself to where you're okay sharing power, to where you know that there's not just this tip of a spear. It's just again, my Goonies metaphor. Maps in Spanish, person that reads Spanish is in charge.
The view here, and this is really important because eventually we talk about, especially in this sixth moon, we talk about view, method, and fruition. And
Mhm.
that this is a three-part understanding of how anything comes to any kind of conclusion, right?
Mhm.
Your view informs your method, and your method informs what you get, right?
Yeah.
So you can break this down from any point. You don't have to start at the view as if it's like, well, I don't know what my view is. All you have to do is actually pay attention to what you're getting, because
Okay.
you could actually break down the fruition of your situation into method, and then your method is going to imply a view.
Okay.
Like that is one of the central core wisdom teachings behind the wisdom tradition of the cosmology of the Tongshu. And
Is that
so,
is that is that the ancient way of saying proofs in the pudding?
yeah, give it whatever you want. It's human, so we
Yeah.
got,
Yeah.
what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get.
Mm.
It's actually,
Yeah.
we're pretty connected to our actual condition. There isn't really
Right.
something hiding behind this. So this is not a transcendental view.
Yeah.
Right. So
Uh,
it's WYSIWYG, it's what you see is what you get. The word I would use is not even just, it's even things like manifestation, because you're manifesting something. Like the idea, reciprocity is not some ideal state.
mm,
Reciprocity is what's happening. Like you water a garden, things happen. Like, and it's the time and attention that you give. And this comes back to the importance of joint efforts and cooperation and collaboration, because it's an expression of a certain view of humanity, that
yeah.
our humanity is basically expressed when we cooperate in these kind of systemic ways that allow us to influence heaven and earth, right? So it's actually a really important partnership. It's our main partnership as human beings is with heaven and earth and each other as individuals into a collective sphere, right? So this sixth moon is all about that. So if we are participating like we may have feelings about the validity of collective effort, like government or social functions, as said, but we don't get to skip this step.
Mhm.
That's a view of an individuality that is not actually sustainable. Like, in other words, I don't see a lot of those people out there with their own, they're off grid or whatever. Are they digging their own wells? There's not too many, like it's a very unique situation. The mass of humanity is relying on all kinds of public services. So we can debate that all day long. But
Mhm.
the point is, one way or another, you're engaging with this. You don't get to skip this step. And this is the wisdom of the sixth moon. Because what's happening right now is that peak yang is past. Like the end of the solstice season this year coincides with the beginning of the sixth moon. So the entirety of the sixth moon, we're coming off peak yang, right? So I liken it to trying to land a plane, right? So we've been flying with all this energy, and now we got to actually land it. And that's really what the sixth moon is all about, because it's not like just because we're shifting off peak yang that the lights suddenly go out. That's not true. We all know that. Like the hottest time of the year, the hottest time of the day isn't noon; it's like 2 o'clock, right?
Mhm.
So what is that? The idea is that the forcefulness of seasonal yang is so powerful that it's created so much momentum that it's still like is still initiating kind of like continue to go forward and growth for some time,
Mhm.
and that will be going through the sixth moon. But the idea around the sixth moon is that we know at some point this inertia is going to collapse. And so our job is to manage Yang's discharge, right? And to get it to retire in this kind of smooth way. Not trying to suppress, we're just trying to respectfully release the pressure and like bring it to conclusion. That's why the sixth moon is all about finishing things. Yeah, it's all about concluding. It's all about like the satisfaction of conclusion. And then when you have satisfaction for concluding something, and you get to share that conclusion with others, and that's this kind of community thing. And even, most of the things you're concluding as an individual wouldn't have happened without other people, so you get to share the conclusion quite naturally. This isn't like something you have to try to do, like it's happening. Like, so it's only a question of whether or not, if we're hyper aggressive and individualistic, which our culture tends to be, do we try to keep the plane flying,
Yeah.
right? Or are we continuing to like, while I'm flying, can I get refueled mid-flight? What an absurd idea, right? It's like
Yeah.
another plane comes up and gives you more fuel. So that's a big risk, from a lot of the teachings that Ming left behind. This is the most dangerous time, not just for the ecosystem, but for our individual health. Because if we're continuing to stimulate yang and to continue to push instead of coast or roll forward, and manage the energy, like wisely, then we are, basically creating conditions of trapped heat in the body that, from a Chinese physiological standpoint and Chinese medicine, creates, inflammation and deterioration of the fluids of our body, basically shortens our life. So we are spending up the fragility of yin, yeah, right? Because
Mhm.
yin, you're trying to feed it, you're trying to nurture it. So you want to create conditions that help yin to develop at this
Mhm.
middle of summer, or as we're coming to the end of summer. So how do we do this? um, we basically negotiate. We become collaborative. We do kind of check in with our feelings. We do root for teams. We do find this kind of interconnected space as a way of releasing the pressure and even possibly the tension. Like work it out. Like work it out with
Mhm.
each other. Like get emotional. Like connect would be one way of doing it for sure. But we need to kind of discharge this, excess. energy instead of like trying to continue to push it. We want to we don't want to keep trying to sustain our aggressions. But first of all, we have to recognize if we're being aggressive, which
Yeah.
we don't always, especially here, because our ideals are firmly rooted in aggression. All of our
Yeah.
ideals as a society are firmly rooted in aggression. So each time we come around this summer period in this sixth moon, we are creating conditions that like deteriorate our bodies, deteriorate our environment by continuing to feed these aggressive ideals. So yeah, how do you unwind that? I mean, you just have to start somewhere.
Hmm.
But like overall, my recommendation would be finish something. Like actually finish a project, actually find satisfaction. Just feel satisfaction, find it somehow. Like finish it and then share it. Be inclusive, get other people involved. But don't, and then maybe that satisfaction would teach us something about what it feels like to retire, you know, which is by the end of this sixth moon, we want to be in a position where retirement looks good, because then we'll be we'll be yin enough. Want to make yin enough? We'll create this kind of condition of responsiveness to our environment when we're not pushing. We're actually much more sensitive to things so that we can navigate the moons of autumn because that's what we're transitioning to. This is a transitional moon. The third moon of any season is a transitional moon. It's normally Earth, and Earth provides the place to transition from all this activity to this place of harvest, right? So you need to have this place where you come forward and with dignity, you recognize everybody involved in what you've done. You embrace your humanity. You make your offerings. The Chinese were there's whole hexagrams built around this, like hexagram 45, for instance. It's all about this, like we all get together as a community and we lift our offerings to heaven, knowing that we're almost done. We still got some things to do, but like this is the good work we've done. And it's just a way of like seeing each other, recognizing each other, and like coming together under some sort of banner of unity. It could be a variety of different things. Now, like you and I might be united under a banner of martial arts and daily practice. Other people might be united under a banner of the Boston Celtics or whatever, some team sport, right? So it doesn't really matter. It just we are participating in this kind of interconnected space, this sense of unity, because we don't get to skip that step.
Hmm.
We have to
Okay, so
we have to participate.
who's made for this? Okay, but before I do this, I personally I like this idea because in the yin and yang thing, like as an individual, I find that I enjoy being in teams now because
Mm.
I actually benefited a lot from being just a kid in a martial arts gi around a bunch of
Yeah,
other people that look like me. So
right.
that's why I do have
Mhm.
a pretty strong sense of self because there wasn't a lot of external anything other than just you are you, right? And I really like that. And then working in schools where the kids have to wear uniforms, they
Right,
oftentimes cultivate themselves outside of just these fashion choices you know what I mean? And so
right,
I'm a big
right,
fan of like sometimes
right.
the group dynamic really thrives if people actually can discover themselves inside that. I really like that. So I like
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah,
who's
and
made
that
for
that
this.
is yeah. So in going through the trines again, like we've done in the past. So starting with
Mm.
the domestics, okay, the domestics, which includes the goat. So it's the goat, the rabbit, and the pig. They do the best. Like by and large, generally speaking, they're
Yeah.
made for this. Yeah. Because they're domestic, so that gives you a clue, right? They're in
Mhm.
relatedness. They need and require other people. They're the most interdependent, right? So goats get a chance to get their footing, which all year long, and to kind of make sense of the big changes that are happening, the sea changes that are happening because of the wood dragon. This particular moon, the goats get to try to make sense of it and
Mhm.
to make plans about what they want to do about it and to organize and connect with other people. So they'll be very active. And rabbits as well, for many of the same reasons. They should feel clear, more clear in their thoughts about what's happening. And pigs, I mean, pigs and rabbits are just not getting run over, which is really good because that's the horse moon tends to run over pigs and rabbits a little bit. It just tramples them, right? This one wasn't as bad because it was the metal horse, so it was kind of holding back all the time, but still kind of anxiety of summer. It's not that that's gone. There's still some anxiousness here, but it has to do with whether or not you're charged, if you feel resourced or if you feel deplete. If you've been doing too much, right? And you're overextended and it's hard, you can't see a way to pare it back. It's because maybe you're being a perfectionist,
Mhm.
right? Just do your best. The whole idea isn't to do things perfectly. And that might be an issue this moon because it is a metal goat instead of just like a regular earth goat. So there could be well, I need to go over it one more time. And rabbits and pigs can be vulnerable to that this moon. But it's really, this whole moon is just about like, at some point you just got to be like, it's not pencils down yet, but at some point you just have to be like, I've done my best. It's just not really about being perfect. It's just about making a contribution, right? But cooperation, being charming, this is a very good time for all the domestics to be charming. So if we're looking at that translates well to a dog that's with the horse and the tiger. Um, the dog can be charming and connected to others. It's very open to that. So they could be a good part of a team, some kind of team building effort. And the tigers should watch out. The horses should also watch out because it's going to slow down. The speed's going to slow down a little bit. So if tigers and horses haven't gotten a good sustainable like rhythm, then they may kind of stumble here, and that stumbling, especially for a tiger, is going to go really badly when in the first moon of fall. They'll like face plant. So
Mhm.
if they've kind of disconnected and just kind of allowed themselves to float a little bit for tigers and to some extent horses, it's a lot better. Um, the person who uh, is kind of coming out of the shadows a little bit is the rat. And that the rat goes with dragon and monkey. So the rat probably felt the most trampled or sort of out of control in the horse moon, right? So this was the moon that was just like it's just too much going on. So now they can start to sort of begin to organize, or at least their organizational tactics will start to make sense. I recommend rats do something to decorate their space, like, or even color code their folders, something that gives them some sort of connection and an aesthetic feel and control for what's happening, right? Organize, get organized. That's also true for rabbits. Dragons, not every dragon's good with working in groups. Many of them are not, so the wise dragons can pull that off. They can be,
Mhm.
and if they do, it's very good, not just for them, but for everyone, so their impact, if dragons decide to make themselves known this moon, their impact would be very, very strong, like they can really influence people. It's to some extent also with monkeys. Monkeys can, be a presence. What I would recommend with monkeys is not try so hard. Don't need to try so hard. You just need to show up and kind of do a couple little tricks to get people's attention. And then you don't need to push that hard. So nobody should be pushing. It's all about how we're building relatedness, how we're,
Mhm.
substantiating our connections with other people. So it's all about who's available. Now, the last trine is the least available. And that's the ox, the snake, and the rooster, right? So
Mhm.
they're the least political of all these. I mean, snakes can be amazingly political, but they don't like it. They don't really want to be part of anything that requires all these steps. They're just not into it. The ox doesn't even consider it, so they don't really get invited to the party. And the roosters are gonna, basically criticize how things are organized. So, that they're not necessarily diplomatic. Roosters are not diplomatic. The only one of those three that can be really diplomatic is the snake, and again, they're really not that interested. So they can or can't, similar to a dragon. They can get involved or not, and so they might take this opportunity to just kind of hang with people they're closest with, and that's what I would recommend for all three of them. Ox should be keep calm and carry on, or all three of these should go on vacation.
Mhm.
That would be a good idea. Like take some summertime off and like go somewhere with your family. And so that's all 12, and it sort of underscores this theme that I would put out there about the sixth moon. In this particular sixth moon is huddle up, right? Huddle up, like get close with people, understand that the situation you're in is what you got, so work with what you got, and it is kind of what you see is what you get. So we all need to start taking responsibility for the implications of Yang's impact. Because the whole idea is that Yang isn't as big or influential as Yin. But what it does do is hit Yin real hard. And it causes Yin to kind of scatter and create new shapes. And maybe some of those shapes are in fulfillment, and some of those shapes are in things we didn't expect, like this year would be like that. It was like I had no idea, when I did my bingo card in spring, I didn't have this on the list, like,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of that going on, right? So in this sixth moon, it really is smart not to push. It's smart to kind of start making sense of the things that have happened. Yes, Matt.
What's the project you're finishing? What are you finishing?
My project,
Yeah.
it's this project, it's this work, that I'm doing. And like for me specifically, like grasping this sixth moon, I'll be honest with you, has been one of the hardest, because the sixth moon is like really, really celebrated in the Confucian worldview. It's really important. And at the same time, we're moving off this kind of peak pushing. So what does that say, about like what's so important about this sixth moon? And it really does underscore and point to this kind of a view of humanity as like inherently collective, ritualistically connected in ways that we just aren't, right? Our ritualized connection is getting into a beef on a thread, like, and getting into an argument with you person you've never met, like all of these things are just kind of wackadoodle, really, in comparison to like some of the Confucian, protocols for how we relate to our family and friends and the people that we work with, so for me personally, it's just been trying to settle into this sixth moon ethos and really digest and internalize like why this time is so important. But, if we're operating on an ideal that's kind of constantly pushing forward, we're going to miss it. We're going to go right over it. We're not going to get a chance to make sense of things and who we are, like get a sense of who we are, as a culture. We're going to miss that. And then we get to fall and we're trying to do all that work while harvesting, and things are going to get messy, really, really sloppy. And that sloppiness is going to lead to a lot of discontent, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of people going to break up in the fall. Any new relationships, old relationships, all at risk. They may all just kind of like break up because we're so hyperstimulated and we really want to continue that, and it makes our judgments poor. Yes.
Plug your ears, Scott.
Yeah. Okay.
I want everyone to know that thank God Scott brought in something real negative into this conversation.
It was so positive before.
So he's like, good, finish your jobs, everyone huddle up, get together. It's all about community right now because you're all breaking up in
You're all gonna
the
break up in the fall.
yeah. So
All I say is,
yeah.
if you have a relationship that is rocky, do something nice for your partner this moon, right?
Okay.
And if you can do that and like slow down and treat each other with that kind of genuine respect, the fall will be fine. And then winter, it will be glorious. Like in the first couple moons of winter are just a lovely, like beautiful time where you can really open your heart. So it's true. Like we are in this kind of, coming out of summer is hard. Not easy, to transition out of this time because everything is so exaggerated. And if you don't know how to fly a plane and you're landing it, or you don't even know that you have to land it, then, expect a rough land. But land, it's okay. It doesn't matter how you land, just land.
When you talk about this, it reminds me of, I mean, as when I was a chef, you're cooking your whatever you're cooking, there's carryover cooking, right? So you pull something out at 120, you need to let it sit there and rest because it's going to rise up to 130, 140.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. And like that's our situation. That's an excellent analogy because we are kind of cooked,
Yeah.
but now we're out of the oven.
Well, also
And you
the thing about it
can't
is, if
just
you
plate
really
it right
think
away.
about what it is it's because all the heat is around the outside. And by stopping, it allows the heat to just temper itself. So it might be 180 out here and might be 120 in here, but it all just soaks in and then everything kind of tempers and now it's an even. So now there's
Yeah,
not a lot as much gradient. And that being said,
right.
it's very important if we want to finish something or if we want to give something to like make sure it's and then it'll be consistent. It'll be clean. It'll be good.
Yeah. So some of the recommendations as we've come toward the end of the fifth moon have been to be, all right, it's time to decide what you can finish and what you can't. There's nothing wrong with projects being carried over to next year, or like, I'm going to put this on the shelf and I'm going to readjust my
Mm.
approach. I mean, we talk about completion as if it's either completion or not completion. But the reality is there's a gradation in between, of course. So it's really about like connecting in with your own experience and like asking yourself, like, am I really trying to kill myself, trying to finish something that's not ready to be finished? Like
And
maybe it needs to cook for another year.
and the times that you say things like that, it reminds it's like it might be time to beta test something because sometimes you get in too deep and we're going. I see that a lot. Like when
Right.
you talk about
Right.
aggression, like, oh my God,
Hmm.
it's when I
It's
leave my
insane.
bubble, it the baseline. That's why the work that I've been doing on people, there is no healing art that needs to be done right now.
No,
Just
agreed.
go get your baseline, return
Yeah.
back, start going to it because most people their baseline is too much already. And I don't want to
Hmm.
be too projected, but when I'm 10 for 10 of seeing and just saying like, maybe we just need to calm down and regain perspective. So that being said, um, I would say like a big part of that is you're going. Sometimes it's really important to just stop and then just like present the thing as is for now to let your community like, hey guys, try to break this. Try to give me some next steps. Try,
Yeah.
I'm too deep
Yeah,
in.
this would be an excellent that is from a view and a set of ideals of a culture that is based in innovation and is based in improvement and there's nothing wrong with that. In the application of the sixth moon would be exactly as you say. So I have this thing that I'm trying to innovate. What notes can you give me?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to take it to another level, but I kind of feel like I need some feedback. This is an excellent time to do all of
Mm,
those things.
cool.
In the sixth moon is definitely kind of everybody can be contributing to other people's things, and we should be open and allowing of that. This would be a very great, a very good time to have someone else from a different like, I know you're not a writer, but read this. Tell me what you think. Like,
Mm,
other sort of kind of cross-pollination that can be going on where there's like a feeling of mutuality, that
mm,
everybody wants everybody else to succeed. So it's not really about getting a result, even though we are talking about bringing things to completion. What we're talking about is emphasizing the relatedness in the relationships.
yeah.
Yeah. So like that's what we're really trying to feed and to substantiate, because this is the beginning of our march to winter. So we're going to need all these folks when things get dark. So like, who do you want to talk to? Like, let's get into that. Like, who do you want your company to be? Like, who's going to be keeping who kind of, these are some of the, sort of initial flavors of what we can expect as we, move forward into the second half of the year. And to temper something, I was looking this up the other day, because it's like a really amazing word, but I didn't really fully understand it. And it basically just means to balance. You're balancing something. So this idea of like one part being super invigorated and the other part like kind of being not so well cooked, I think is a perfect analogy for where we're at.
Mm,
And so that brings us into a fuller understanding of the transition between yang and yin. Yeah, like this notion of a retiring general and their granddaughter, right? This is a very romantic image, but I think it's appropriate because you've got mature yang is gray, like knows how to do things, but actually knows more how to not do things. Knows more how to maintain relationships and not tick people off, right? Knows
yeah.
how to maintain some sort of affinity, knows how to keep the peace, not just wage war,
Mm,
right? So it wants to keep the peace because it's motivated. It's got a young granddaughter, and that young granddaughter, he wants to make the world safe, right? So this should be in our heart, is the recommendation of the sixth moon. How do we make the world safe and prepare it for rest? And that's a very foreign concept to our culture, but it's a very necessary idea.
mm.
And the
Wow.
sixth moon is all about that.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to, any parting words?
Um, the last thing I would say is that it's always the ground of your experience. To be in one's experience is not, I don't know if I'm going to say this exactly as I had originally written it, but um, precision, perfection. So, to be in one's experience is not to say that you're an individual.
Yeah.
Like, that's another step. That's a kind of idealized understanding of being in your own experience. I'm in my own experience, therefore I must be an individual that has all these attributes. Yeah. And for the cosmology, the Tongxue and the wisdom tradition of the five practices of the Leo family, which is what we're talking about ultimately, in the view, to be in one's own experience is just the privilege of being a human being. You don't have to draw any implications from that. I don't have to like construct an ontology of a pronoun. I don't have to do
Yeah.
that. I can just stay in my experience. And this is one of the four times of the year where staying in our own experience gives us a certain view of the world that's around us. And we have a chance to sort of calibrate, right, and rectify how we feel inside with the world around us, right? And so this is a balance, this is a tempering point, this is a balancing point. And you can't do that if you're running 50 miles an hour. Like you have to really slow down and allow things to kind of gradually cool down, you know? So that's where we're at. So being in one's own experience is the only thing you really need just to be in your own experience. There's no other requirements than that. Impressive.
I'm going to launch this with two blog posts. So there's one chapters in the book, the new book.
Cool. Yeah.
One of the chapters is the difference between mindfulness and awareness, which is kind of what you're saying. It's like your
Mhm.
mindfulness is you, like you're sharpening yourself, you're
Mhm.
in the moment. But the awareness is
Mhm.
how it resonates out. So I say one's a blade, one's a light bulb, right? So
Mhm.
that's kind of it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and then the other one is on the three pursuits: stuff, then self, then purpose, and how
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
many of us are, we don't even know it, but like we were training for someone else's purpose starting in middle school, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that's why we're so relentless on knowing ourselves right now, is because we skipped ourselves and now we're just like trying to please our elders, our parents, our bosses, someone else's purpose.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll piggyback on that with a thought that I had just the other day when I was thinking about wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that wealth is not stuff. Like, I mean, some people think wealth is stuff, but like wealth is not actually stuff. Wealth is the rapport that we have. It's a rapport that is required to fulfill an action, right? So I have a rapport with resources that allow me to go buy dinner. Like I have a
Mm-hmm.
rapport with other people that allow me to build a dam or allow us to build a dam. So wealth is a matter of rapport, the rapport that we've built with our surroundings. And what satisfies as rapport, right, varies widely through culture and history. So how come we don't exchange chocolate? Like why do we exchange
Right.
gold? Like it
Right.
doesn't matter. It's what that should point to is that it's not about gold or chocolate. It's about the rapport. So this idea of rapport is so key. It in general and particularly punctuated at each of the four moons, the dragon, the goat, the dog, and the ox. Those are like these four major points throughout the year where the chi is such that we can really work out our rapport. We should stay in that space of what has rapport. And in this particular case, the rapport is communal. Each of the moons, each of those four moons provides something a little bit different. But in the goat moon, it provides this sort of communal understanding of who we are
Mm.
collectively in our relationship to heaven and earth. So
Mm.
if you could think about anything in this sixth moon, like stay with where your rapport is.
Mm. Nice.
Yeah.
Word.
Thank you.
All right, man.
No, and speaking of rapport, it's always great to work with you. And I we've been friends for a long time, so I mean, it wouldn't matter if we were doing this or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate the ways in which what you're working on so like illustrates the time, and it's really amazing to see you doing the work that you're doing, and I
Oh,
want to
thanks.
thank you for the time that you give me, and definitely want to thank you for the work that you put out in the world because you're a good dude and you're doing great work, and I appreciate you.
Thanks. Sometimes it's nice to hear that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, we go into these holes and we just do stuff. So you too, man. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you guys don't know, Scott and I have known each other for a very long
Man,
time.
for,
And
for a long
yeah,
time.
but
First
yeah,
we
man.
ever met when he came to Berkeley. Yeah. Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, he used to tend bar while I would just sit there
Yeah.
with my guitar and rock. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
was great. It was great.
All right, man. All
All
right.
right, brother.
Well, I'm going to go do some Zoom sessions. You guys do some Zoom sessions. We can do the journaling, you can do the self-care, or we can do your energetic fitness stuff. The big tweak that I've been doing with a lot of people that are in the internal martial arts is just
Mm.
you got to do fitness. But how, you know what I mean? Like
You got to move around.
stop neglecting that. And then the
Mm.
people that are just doing fitness, to watch them connect to the energetic stuff.
I bet.
Man.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Mm.
And then everyone, if please stop living your life thinking that your thoughts don't affect your body and that doesn't affect the way that people treat you. Please stop thinking that. Yeah. If I
Mm.
could just say to
Mm.
anything, if there's any moment where you've separated the correlation between brain and body, that's some of the most ignorant shit I've ever heard. Like that's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's very
free
yeah,
ride. Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. Just again to piggyback on that point, just talking about the difference in meditation styles between like a Buddhist, for instance, just as an example, and other different styles of meditation and the kind of and more of the Taoist meditation practices is that the Taoists are very interested in the body.
Yeah.
They don't exclude the body. It's not all mind,
Don't think that when Bodhidharma went to China and he saw the monks sitting there meditating and not being in shape, he just laughed at them.
Yeah, he whipped their ass. Yeah.
Because the thing is when you sit down all day and meditate thinking that's the way, you're gonna die way before you get anything, and you're gonna die in pain. You're gonna die in pain.
Yeah.
So you take care of your body to when you get older, you can still sit up straight, and you're going to tack another 10 years of practice onto your practice. You don't take care of your body. I mean, that's why literally Bodhidharma was just like, you guys are like all sick. It's if I don't know what the word he used for, hey, dum-dum, do some sit-ups.
It probably involved a stick.
It's like, yeah, I mean, he literally just laughed at him. He's like, you guys all walk like sick librarians. You'll never make it. You're in pain. Yeah. It's so funny. So again, get in shape, man. Like you'll have the rest of your life. When you're young, get in shape. When you're older, get enlightened, right? And it's 80-20, a little bit of that now. And then,
right.
Yeah.
And swim and flip it. Yep.
Yeah, straight up. Like if there's anything I could impart on anyone is like when you're young, get in shape to when you're older, you're in shape enough to be able to sit and enjoy it, and then 80-20 it. Yeah. Speaking of getting in shape, I'm gonna go get some beefcake on Zoom.